All right. 10 minutes passed. Let's go ahead and start today's open discussion on various topics. All right, let's open up with reciting the prayer for spiritual workers. Prayer for spiritual workers. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their limitations, would smite me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their weakness, would not heed me. Almighty God, I bless all those who, because of their ignorance, would defile you through me. And I ask, Almighty God, O wondrous power, that your strength may be given to me now, so that I might be fortified by this, so that I might go forward bravely into the world, and despite reception, send forth my love of thee throughout all races of man. Almighty God, give me the power and strength to rise above my karmic weakness, the deficiencies in the pattern of my evolution, so that I might evolve and become stronger, aye, and even stronger in thy everlasting light. O God, thy will be done. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another open discussion and various topics. Just quickly orient myself here on the screen. All right, this is class 133. And in today's open discussion, as usual, we will keep the floor open for any questions or comments that you may have. And then we will continue or finalize our discussion from previous open both various topics classes of this past series of the life after death. We'll end that with a couple of questions that were emailed to us regarding those subjects, and also one of the books that we'd recommend. Actually, a couple of books we'd recommended. One is Life on the Planets. This is a PDF book that you can pick up from the Theory Society. And another one on a similar subject, Life After Death, by Yogi Ramacharaka, which is available on the mysticknowledge.org website. So you're free to download those books, as well as review, I think, the last 4 open discussions, I think from 128 onwards, where we talk about life after death. Today, as I mentioned last time, we will begin or pick back up our review of the previous lectures that were given 10, 11 years ago. So if you go to the mystickknowledge.org website, sorry, not the website, but to the YouTube channel, username there is just Mystic Knowledge. So if you search for Mystic Knowledge, you'll come into our YouTube channel. You go to playlist and scroll down a bit. We are currently reviewing Metaphysics 101. So we did class 1 already. We did class 1 before, and so now we're doing class 2. Going to do about the first 30 minutes of each of these older lectures. where I'll write out I'll transcribe the lecture, and we'll go through the transcript and, study this material, update the diagrams. For example, this diagram, there's been many more diagrams since this one was used in this original lecture about 10 years ago. We'll use that same diagram as well as some more ones that were created since then to go deeper into the content that was delivered. And we'll also field any questions that you may have about this information that you probably weren't able to ask 10 years ago if you're not there at the lectures. So do go back and to our YouTube channel, look at the playlist and scroll down, look at the Metaphysics 101, review these 2 classes. The audio may be a bit not what you're used to, because these are done 10 years ago with the audio being fed to the microphone on the camera, and the camera at the time wasn't really good, but you're still able to hear everything and to follow along. Take down any questions or comments you have and bring them back, and we'll discuss them. So before we go into the transcript for this video, I wanted to do a bit of review, because in this class 2, Nehemiah starts from the spirit and works downward to the gross physical body. And he spends quite a bit of time talking about the Nadic system and specifically the etheric body. So I wanted to spend some time today reviewing a chapter out of the Mystic Constitution of Man textbook that Nehemiah is authoring, to help get us ready to dive deeper into the material covered in the Metaphysics 101 class 2 lecture series. So today we'll read through and this yet unreleased. It's still a work in process. It's a couple of edits and changes still need to be made, but in this chapter, the author, Nehemiah Davis, dives deep into the etheric body, as well as the corresponding chakras for the etheric vehicle, namely the heart, throat, Christ, and crown. So we'll look at those 4 centers. Let's see, this chapter is about 13 pages, so I won't read through everything. Maybe to this series, this open discussion, with the next one I'll spend on this chapter 9, and then we'll dive into class 2, the Metaphysics 101 series, properly when we complete the review of the material in this etheric bodies of expression chapter. Okay. So that's the agenda for today. One thing I also wanted to do, I mentioned a couple open discussions ago, I wanted to share a quote from a lecture called The Measure of Greatness, given by Dr. George King in 1978. He opens the lecture with this quote and with this line, and I felt it was a very powerful quote, and I wanted to share it with everyone. Later on, I want to go deeper into not just this lecture, but all the implications that comes just from this, 3 sentences, and how we can embody greatness not only in our lives but in the entirety of our spiritual evolution. So do stay tuned for that. And so he opens the lecture with these 3 sentences. The measure of greatness is a degree in which the man can evolve everything he comes into contact with. The measure of greatness is a degree in which the man can evolve everything he comes into contact with. And what applies to the individual applies to the group of individuals, and to the organizations, to countries, to whole races. All right. So I offer that to all of you to to think about, to concentrate, contemplate, to meditate upon. And shortly, I would love for us to do a deeper dive into this lecture. Or if you're not able to find the lecture from the Aetheric Society, then just these 3 sentences, like for us to go into and really dive deep into what it means to be great as laid out here by Dr. George King in this lecture. All right. So do we have any questions or comments to start off today's session? We have a couple that have been emailed to us. I'll go into those in a moment. I want to open the floor to everyone. I may not have switched that over properly. Were you guys not able to see the... Sorry, here's the quote. I didn't switch the screens over properly. Yes, I'll read that again. So the measure of greatness is the degree in which the man can evolve everything he comes into contact with. The measure of greatness is the degree in which the man can evolve everything he comes into contact with. And what applies to the individual applies to the group of individuals, and to organizations, to countries, to whole races. All right, so I'll leave that up for a bit. I apologize. I didn't realize I had not switched that over. Okay, now let's go to the questions sent to us via email. And these questions are referring back to our discussions on the life beyond death. And the first question reads, it seems like such a critical time when we are born. It affects our abilities on the physical realm, our mental and energetic toolkit, you might say. Does it have the same effect when we are born on the astral or etheric planes, when you wake up from the rest of the soul slumber? Or when masters ascend? Do people on other planets choose to rebuild their bodies at specific times to undertake new missions or roles? It would seem like one of the more advanced sciences. So there's quite a few questions embedded in that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dr. King answered that in his lecture and in his books. You know, speaking about the cosmic masters.
Mm-hmm.
On here on Earth, it is an event coming and going and going and coming. So in other words, when we leave here on this physical plane to go to the astral etheric planes, we see how it impacts everyone on this physical plane. So vice versa on the other realms, is an impact there as well. So it impacts on multiple levels. the same way it impacts here, emotionally, mentally, and physically. So because that person's physical energy has moved on to either astral level or etheric level, and the emotions that person express is also have moved on, and it's the same thing on the astral planes or the etheric planes when that person leaves there. So if that answers your question, is the greatest difference is that I would think is that it is felt more on the subtle realms than what is felt on the physical realms, I would think, because there's a greater awareness those realms than what it is on the physical realm.
So when we transition to the other realms, there's he's asking us a specific time that we do so, like we take upon a gross physical incarnation. Okay.
That he says they're what now? What do you say?
He was talking about when we choose the timing of our physical incarnation, if it's the same thing when we cross over to the other realms.
Your higher self determine that by the direction of the soul. We are it's like the great master said, we are given so many breaths,
right?
One lifetime, and that's why pranayama is so important in every endeavor you go to do. In every yoga you would choose, pranayama is one of the is a part of every yoga that you would choose. And one of the reasons why, because your time here on earth is dictated by how many breaths you will take. And the only way you can extend that is through some type of karmic manipulation, by your own right actions, in other words. Because karma, the root word for karma is actions. And for positive actions to happen is you need right actions that improve progressive living. Negative actions limit your time here, even though you may think that even though you may think that it don't, because to look at it, it seems like it don't. But remember, a negative number times a negative number accelerates the end of negativity by creating a positive number. And mathematics is one of the true ways to understand karma. So people may say, oh, people are evil or negative. It seems like they have a longer stay here on earth. But what it does, it accelerates their karma to positive, where it places them in a place that they're not happy and that they have to spend more time trying to get out of whatever they created.
So that's it for that question. There's a couple more that were emailed. And all right, hello to everyone who's joining us. Welcome. If you have any questions or comments, you can feel free to post them in the chat and we'll address those for you. So he has some questions on the book by Yogi Ramacharaka. First question is, it is said in the book that beings don't have physical bodies on the higher realms. And he quotes here, the soul on the higher planes has no need of arms and legs, hands and feet. It dwells where these instruments of a lower form of expression are not needed. It is a being transcending the limitations of physical life. He says this doesn't seem to fit with the teachings of the Aetheric Society, where even cosmic masters have physical forms, and even the etheric realms are physical. Shambhala is a city populated by people, surely. And I can see where he's getting confused, but that's not correct, his assumption there.
Yeah, so one of the things that Dr. King taught us, which is outside of what most people would teach you, is that on the very, very higher realms, you can only stay there for a limited time. You remember Dr. King saying that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So now when you read or study up on a lot of other teachings, they don't tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't go into that type of detail. And if they do it short and sweet and don't say too much more about it. But if you were to project from the upper chakras and go to the higher realms, then you are limited on how long you can stay there. You know, so, but yeah, it's true that what Dr. King, in fact, in fact, on several of the lectures where Dr. King described the most advanced body that we scribe to be is what? You remember what it was?
The ovoid.
The ovoid shape, which is the shape of the auric body.
Mm-hmm.
And on the higher realms, on the mental realms, or the higher mental realms, the higher etheric mental realms, yes, when you project there, you don't need extremities. You step into that, into your true form. The auric body is the true form, is the body of the soul. And you can collect more information. You can be in a higher state of cosmic consciousness, the cosmic consciousness of the Mother Earth. Because our cosmic consciousness that we experience, although most people don't tell you that, but we experience the cosmic consciousness through the Mother Earth. Our Kundalini is offered to us from the Mother Earth. Dr. King tells us that. And also the ancient teachings tell us that too. So yes, in the highest realms, you don't need the arms and the legs. And those people who want to operate on that level, they step out of their physical humanoid form and step into the ovoid form in order to do certain jobs or reach certain levels of consciousness. Even the ascended masters, when they appear before us, yes, they have arms and legs, even the cosmic masters, but that's not their body of, that's not their chosen form. If you go back to You Are Responsible, the book You Are Responsible, when Dr. King described the Venusian and the Martian. It was a Venusian when they were doing a certain battle. He clearly described how the Venusian shedded his humanoid form that had head, arms, and legs, for all these extremities, and locked it into a like a briefcase of energy, a stream of energy that this body just went into. And he stepped out into this ovoid shape and began to manipulate the craft in order to make the high manipulations, and probably was working on multiple realms of existence in doing it. So yes, the best body is the ovoid shape, and that's the body that we look to move towards, in order to gain our highest level of consciousness. And remember, the Saturnarians, that's they describe the Saturnarian body as this 20 feet, 25 feet ovoid shape, and yet in that ovoid shape they can take on 1,800 to 3,000 humanoid bodies at the same time. Mm-hmm. So yes, I mean, go back, and that's not stepping outside of the Theory Society. I think the Theory Society went into greater explanation and gave us a greater insight without even writing a whole 90-page book.
The second question says, another quote, it also says that there is no scenery on the astral plane except that furnished by the thought forms of the souls inhabiting it. Each soul carries his own set of scenery with it in his imaginative faculties of mind. It follows, of course, that many would of the same general ideas and tastes inhabiting the same subplane will carry the same mental scenery with them. And as the power of thought transference is manifested strongly on the astral plane, each soul affects the general scenery of the others. In fact, the scenery of each subplane or division thereof represents the composite ideals and mental images of those inhabiting it. And so his question is, so referring back to the astral city, would there be a different astral city for Westerners and Indians and Muslims, etc.? And how does it work with manifesting things on the astral plane? Do the houses have to be physically built or just somehow appear once someone has imagined them? All right, so the first part is referring to cities on the astral plane. Would there be different astral cities for those like Westerners or those from India or those are Muslim, etc.?
That's a loaded question, and I can do, and I have did it in the past. I can do a 5-week course on that. And I'm gonna try to sum it up. That is so, the same way it's so here.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
So the environment you live in is is the resort of your mental makeup and your mental attitude. So that the only reason why Italy is the way it is because of the mental makeup of all the people there. It's the group soul of Italy that makes Italy what it is. It's the group soul of Russia that make Russia what it is. It's the group soul of Egypt that makes Egypt the way it is. It's the group soul of any country, whether it's Ghana or the Congo or South Africa or Japan or China or Europe, parts of Europe like Britain or France or whatever. It's their group soul that carve and shape that the way it is. And we can see that clearly now when politics become polarizing. You can see it. You can see that how the group souls fight against themselves and reveal who they are and what they are and how, how they want to take the rights away from certain people and increase the rights of other people. You see that all over the world. And it's the group consciousness. It's the group consciousness that bring about the environment. The environment. The fact that you have mass shootings in the United States and don't have mass shootings like that anywhere else in the country, it's the group consciousness that allows such things, that allow certain laws to be put on the books to increase that type of activity. Dr. George King said it best. He said, if you make room for failure, then you'll have failure. If you make room for success, you'll have success. It's just the law of karma. Also when we go back to the ancient teachings, it said that when man came here to Earth 18,600,000 years ago, that there was no astral realms.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened? The cosmic masters, along with the Adamic man, the Brahmic man, what did they do? They helped to situate the life forms that was being introduced to Earth, and they said a metamorphosis of Earth started happening. So it took hundreds of thousands of years for those individuals to be introduced to the physical realm. But what happened to the astral realms? In fact, the astral realms had to be created, number one. Number two, the astral realms had to take on the shape and mental and mentality of the people that was entering the astral realms. And then the earth had to take on a metamorphosis in order to assume the life forms that will be living on the physical plane from the astral planes, to recycle them back and forth. So all of that had to happen, and it only happened because of the mentality of the people. Remember, imagination is not the imagination in the English dictionary. That's not. The imagination is a creative faculty. So what you imagine is take on real life. It's an energy. Once you bring that energy into focus, it's an energy and it has substance. And if you don't believe that, then try it on your life. Get a particular phrase or whatever and just repeat it over and over and over and see on it begin to manifest in your life. Have that phrase and imagine it, bring form to that phrase, and you'll notice that it will manifest itself inside your life, because imagination is real. You imagine something and then you visualize it. because the second stage of imagination is visualization. The third stage of imagination is not on the visualization, but is the formation of that imagination and visualization. And it takes form. And it begins to begin to come together in order to express itself on whatever realm of existence it needs to express itself on. So that I don't think that contradicts what Dr. King said, because it doesn't contradict what the Third Society said, because the Third Society clearly informed us that the most advanced form of body that you can be in is an ovoid body, and that's what all of us are striving towards, is to be able to live and exist in an ovoid shape. Because that's the body that the Saturnarians exist in.
And the solar lords too. Yeah.
Solar lords too, yes. Well, the solar lords are the Saturnarians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and how does it work with manifesting things on the astral plane? Do the houses have to be physically built or just somehow appear once someone has imagined them?
First of all, you have to be strong enough to imagine to bring them into being. You have to have the mental power and strength in order to bring it into manifestation. I know they say, oh, it's easier there. Yes, it is. It's easier, but you know, and how long the duration of that will be there. Preservational, the power of preservation is love. And we know that even on this physical plane, to love something unconditionally is very, very hard. It's very, very hard. And it takes a lot of energy. You know, if you love something, you want to keep it in manifestation, even a plant, you have to feed it, you have to water it, you have to make sure to get the sunlight. I mean, it takes a lot. Object that you love, you have to constantly dust it down. You have to constantly make sure it's all right, make sure that it's not, the corrosion of that object is not happening, it has not accelerated, you know, so even in the small things. So think about when you go on the other side. Yes, you can build a fortress, but then you have to maintain it. You have to, you know, and then just like Dr. King said, yeah, if you want a Fort Knox on the astral rims, yeah, you can conjure up all the gold you want to, but now you gotta have the army to keep it. Because those people who don't have the ability to bring that into manifestation, they coming after you, and they're going to make sure that you have the power to hold on to that. Because if not, they're going to take over it. So yes, it's you can bring it up, but you're pulling on the resources of the earth in order to manifest those things. There's no, you know, magic is applied knowledge. So it still work on all the principles of karma.
So Jack, to go further into that question, especially since you related it to the movie Astral City, if you remember when they were walking around the, I guess you can say, the residential district and visiting the house of one of the characters, the wife had said that her husband had worked for many years to earn the merits in order to be given a house. And then that became the family house that everyone from that family group or that group soul now within that family, when then they cross over to that plane, that's where they all dwell, you know, in that home. And you also remember other lines in the movie where he said where they were able to create clothing and other items just by thinking and visualizing it, but they had to be taught how to do that first. They had to be given instruction on how to visualize clothing, how to visualize the items that they use. So the higher advanced peoples, they would visualize in the same way we have here, for example, right? You go to an architect or designer to visualize a house for you. And then you would go to an engineer or to a contractor to gather the materials and the skills and the resources to manifest that illustration, those plans into a physical structure. When we're taught that the subtle realms are more mentally pliable or we can they respond better to mental visualizations, like Nima was telling us with the example of the Fort Knox. You can go over to the plane and visualize in the same way that it is done here, but in a more subtle aspect. You can visualize the house and every single aspect of it, and then pull the energy together to create that physical form, manifest that physical form into a house there. It depends on how the level of concentration and evolution the individual is that's producing that feat. So if you go back and take a look at it's maybe like in 2 or 3 lines, really quickly done, but go back and check out the movie again and you'll see points in that. Or better yet, I would invite you to listen to the lecture of Dr. George King when he's describing how he created the SCRs and the antenna array and so forth in the subtle realms, the mental realms. And he described it as a beautiful piece of work. And he was able to, he built it in the mental realms, able to test it, to move this around, move that around, and make it so that it can operate perfectly, but then had to make great sacrifices when he brought that design and manifested it onto the physical plane. So that in other words, the SCR at the headquarters, I hope I'm getting, is not at the level of the instruments that he was able to design on the mental planes. And I think it was also the master Aetherius also had designed instrumentation on the mental planes as well, and talks about that and I forget the exact lecture where that's mentioned, but I do remember Dr. King talking about it. I think it was talks about it for Sunbeam and talks about other instruments that he had designed on the mental plane and had to make great changes to it in order to bring it to the physical plane and manifest it here and make it operate here. But on the mental planes, able to design it in the same way we would use CAD software to design an engine or another piece of instrumentation and then test it out in simulation and see, we need to make certain parts longer, shorter, change different materials in certain parts. And then we're able to, send those designs to a machine shop. They actually machine the parts for us, and then we can do additional testing on it there. Instead of having to do it in that type of slow, arduous process we do here on the physical plane, a really advanced person can do all that on the higher mental realms and then, do the even more difficult work of translating that to the physical plane. Do you remember which lecture it was, Nimai? Or
where I think that was there was a lecture on prayer power and the sunbeam that he talks about that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a smaller lecture he did, I think it was in the 70s and the 80s, about prayer power and sunbeam, how he did all that on the mental planes first. But even on the astral planes, it's the same way. Things function a little quicker and faster there than what it would do here. So they can, the mental material, the mental, you can move stuff from the mental to the astrophysical quicker than what you can here, because we create things on the mental plane here through our mental formation of it in our imagination, and then our visualization. Then we translate it into words and drawings,
Mm-hmm.
and we use mathematics and laws of physics, which is laws of karma, in order to make sure that it work. And then we use the knowledge, the little bit of knowledge we have of the physical material that surround us, and how that physical material exists here on the physical plane, and what conditions, how, the duration of time that it can be in existence without corrosion. All that stuff we do through engineering, architectural, mathematics, and well, it's first start with our mental capabilities to be able to form that in our head. So, but on the astral planes, we have a greater connection to the mental world, and that's all Dr. King was trying to tell us. And the metaphysicians that speak on these things. Like I said, it's no magic.
Right.
Just applied knowledge. The same way it is here, it's just applied knowledge.
So do we have any questions from the audience? That is the end of the questions that were emailed to us.
Bernard, you want to have anything to say about that, or?
I actually think it's harder to do it on the mental realm, because if you think about, if you take any device that's physically created in this world, and if you just really concentrate on it and think about it, it takes a lot of knowledge and information that whoever it was that created it had to have walking around inside their head to put that together. And if you all of a sudden find yourself in the astral realm or the mental realms, now if you want to put together something as simple as a keyboard, if you think about all the components that go into a keyboard, that individual has to have full conscious working knowledge of what it is, that how and why a keyboard works. It's not a matter of just closing your eyes and just saying and seeing the keyboard, because there is like a science behind all of that, and the same science that applies to the physical realm applies there, because we all know the science starts on that level. So, and then you got to sit there and hold that concentration uninterrupted.
Yeah, we said all that earlier before you came on, that either because everybody just can't go over there and manifest it. They have to be taught to do it and trained to do it, and it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Now, it is easy to tap into mind substance. In other words, like let's say if I sat here and I want to go into a level of contemplation, I can tap into the universal mind, and I can educate myself on a particular thing if I had the ability to do that. But you need the ability to be able to do that. So it's more accessible on the other side. But if you're a nitwit here on the physical plane, and you go to the other side, you're going to be a nitwit there too. So someone has to train you to be able to tap into the mind substance. The same way now, it may be accessible to you quicker there, but that doesn't mean that you can hold that visualization in place the same way you're saying. And that's, and we were saying that earlier. Yeah, you can imagine it, but to bring that imagination to a level of visualization that you can deal with all the details, you know, you have to be trained to do that.
Yeah, it's just not hocus pocus.
It's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Yeah. Yeah, we agree. We agree on that.
So now I have a question then. So like take, for example, a concrete block. It took humanity many years to come up with the formula for concrete and then the different types of concrete. But then when we take that, you know, the concrete mix and we add the water, we follow the formula and we make a concrete block or a brick, and then we use that for whatever construction. What's preserving that concrete block? Is it the Mother Earth through her love energy that's preserving it? Because we're not constantly visualizing a concrete block for the 30, 40, 50 years that the house stands. What's
Divas. The energy that you gave the divas to put it together.
Yeah, everything have a timestamp on it. You know, one of the reasons why they begin, well, everything has a timestamp. It has when you like, you know, like when you go to the, I mean, you familiar with the periodical chart, right?
Yes.
Periodical chart give you the atomic weight of everything. Well, when you really go into that, that's a timestamp of how long that cellular block lasts in time, or that formation will last. Like water evaporates, right? From water to what?
Just to steam or gas.
Yeah, and then under certain conditions,
Vapor.
fall back down into what?
Back into liquid form.
And then below 32.
It goes into a solid form.
Yeah. So I mean, everything has a timestamp. That's the law of karma. That's like Bernard was saying, the devic energy that's there. You know, it follows the law. So let's say if you was on the astral planes and you really didn't understand, you know what I mean by the mental belt. If you didn't understand that, then you just go, you go to a solid wall or a concrete wall, and you look at it and say, well, this is, you know, you study it until you know how to manifest it. And then you go and you manifest it somewhere else, and then you see, you study structures, you study whatever, and then you try to figure all together. After trial and error, just like here on Earth, you can go and build whatever you need to build from the knowledge. It's applied knowledge. It's no magic. It's applied knowledge. But the same way it is here on Earth, it might, you know, you might be able to do a little bit quicker if you were trained how to bring all those elements together. And then where you can get those elements from on that side, because I don't think you can think anything into being anywhere on the astral planes. I think in certain areas. I mean, we, from the story of Lupic, we understood that. So.
Okay. All right, so if there's no further questions, then as a reminder, everyone, in preparation for our review of class 2, the Metaphysics 101 series, remember, it's in, if you go to their YouTube channel under playlist and I'll scroll down a bit, you'll see Metaphysics 101, Mystic Constitution of Man. We'll be reviewing class 2, going through the transcript and diving a bit deeper into the lecture material covered. But for today and for probably the next series in preparation for going into class 2, we're going to read through chapter 9 of the Mystical Constitution of Man textbook, the etheric bodies of expression. As I'm going through this, if you have any additional comments or questions, you can feel free to post them in the chat and we'll answer those for you. How do I change this to read mode? Oh. Just trying to make this better to see, but anyway. Okay, so chapter 9, the etheric bodies of expression. What is the etheric body? The etheric body or bodies are the higher subtle bodies of man that are made up from the upper major chakras along the spinal column from the heart chakra and up. The heart chakra, throat chakra, Klai chakra, and the crown chakra produce the mind and vital energies that configures the etheric bodies for the major realms associated with these chakras. Give me 1 second. This is not the correct version. Determine. I had I think that's it. Okay. Sorry for that. I had made edits and changes to the document, but I think it removed some of them. Well, anyway, the subtle etheric body's advanced capacity is determined by the level of the mind and vital energy configurations of the upper chakra levels, access to mind energies and vital energies radiating through the listed above upper vortex centers. The soul designs the etheric bodies to live and operate on the higher subtle realms of existence, which are the upper 4 chakras along the spinal column as listed above. The soul pulls together the auric matter that is used to house the mental energies, vital energies, and material substance necessary to build the subtle etheric systems in order to manufacture the functioning etheric bodies capable of withstanding the huge levels of psychic and vital energy pressures from the Earth atmosphere or in open space outside of the planetary atmosphere. These subtle realms are made up from the mind and energy configurations of the upper chakras of man. These upper chakras are known by the following name, following English name, Sanskrit names, and region in which it is located within the body. Number 1, the heart physical vortex center. Sanskrit name is Anahata chakra, containing 12 petals or bijas. In the region of the body, the heart psychic center is located within the auric body at the heart region at the center of the breastbone level. Number 2, the throat psychic vortex center, the Vishuddha chakra, containing 16 petals or bijas. The throat psychic center is located within the auric body at the throat region at the center of the neck. Number 3, the Christ psychic vortex center, or the Ajna chakra, containing 2 petals of bijas. The Christ psychic center is located within the auric body at the Christ region at the center of the forehead between the eyebrows. And number 4, the crown psychic vortex center, or the Sahasrara chakra, 1,000 petal bijas. The crown psychic center is located within the auric body at the crown of the head region, which is the top of the head. Now, the upper chakras that fuel the etheric body. The heart psychic vortex center, Anahata chakra. This vortex center regulates the subtle sound vibrations, which help design and animate a field of mental influence that molds and shapes the energies pulled together through the Anahata chakra. It also holds the intelligent patterns of the subtle matter in order to bring meaning and purpose to the involutionary and evolutionary activities of the energy cycles of matter. The heart center is the 4th major nadi knot and is called the Anahata chakra in Sanskrit terms. The Sanskrit terminology, Anahata, means the wheel of unstruck sound. This carries and releases the holy sound vibration or chakra seed mantra YAM, which is released from the bindu via the soul through this chakra. This sound represents the control of the Shakti power as mind. This chakra gives meaning to the Shakti power through the manifestation of the Nadic power that resonates here. There are 12 petals that extend from the heart chakra seed mantra. These 12 petals are the 12 lines of nada, subtle sonic sounds, that are energized by the sacred seed mantras, which are configured mental pranas aimed to help manifest and define human consciousness. The mighty force of the main seed mantra of this Anahata chakra and its 12 petals within this chakra is accompanied by 54 tattvic rays. These 54 tattvic rays of the mighty sun manifest the power that builds, maintains, and preserves the consciousness of the soul on several planes of existence simultaneously. They offer the frequencies of mind and vital energies that are used to configure the patterns for building subtle materials with the capacity to be employed as etheric cells, blood, tissue, organs, and the systems that make up the subtle vehicles of expression. These 54 tattvic rays are accompanied with 54 divas. The motion of these tattvic rays indicates the presence of the divas. A tattvic ray means a sonic vibrational mode of motion of cosmic energies that carries the will of God. The tattvic rays are a combination of the subtle, fine energy patterns behind material matter. The tattvic configuration consists of the following subtle energies. Won't go through all of them. 1, Nada Shakti. 2, Vyana Shakti, intelligent principle. Number 3, Chitta Shakti, universal mind principle. Number 4, Prana Shakti, all-pervasive power principle. Number 5, Amanda Shakti, universal preservative power principle. Number 6, Akasa Mahabhutas, etheric sounds and spaces, a carrying energy. Number 7, Vayu Mahabhutas, etheric air or gaseous substance. Number 8, Tejas Mahabhutas, etheric heat, fire. Number 9, Apas Mahabhutas, etheric liquids. 10, Prithivi Mahabhutas, etheric solids. 11, Udana subtle energies, the energy that makes intelligent movement possible. 12, Prana subtle energies, powers and sustains the ability to move. 13, Samana subtle energies, transform raw energies into useful energies. 13, Dhyana subtle energies. 14, Dhyana subtle energies, a baseline flow of energies that supports mental expressions. 15, Apana subtle energies, a vertical upflow of energy movement and downflow. 16, the 4 states of creative sound vibrations for consciousness is Para, Pasyanti, Madhyama, Vakhari. 17, Ida Nadi, a mental flow of energies that moves in a left direction. 18, Pingala Nadi, a vital flow of energies that moves in a right direction. 19, Sushumna Nadi, a neutral flow of energy that moves in one direction. 20, 7 major chakra levels of consciousness are vortex centers of energy exchanges. '21, the 7 major chakra bindus, the entry point for the all-knowledge space, a point of consciousness or spiritual germ for manifestation. 22, 7 major chakra seed mantras. 23, 6 major chakra petals groups. 24, 6 major chakra tattva groups. 25, Kundalini configurations. 26, Granthi knots. 27, gunas. 28, the realms. 29, the esoteric planetary influences. 30, the presiding devas. 31, presiding deva goddesses. In Sanskrit terminology, the deva group that accompanies the tattvic rays is called the Surya deva group. The presiding deva over the bindu of this chakra is called Kakini, and it releases the holy sonic energy configuration of YAM to further demonstrate the preservation power of this chakra. This chakra is considered to be one of the upper chakras. It is where the higher planes begin and where the higher consciousness begins to manifest itself. When mankind purifies his nadis, he activates them to the point where he gains the ability to awaken the major chakras to the sensory perception of the lower astral and physical consciousness. The awakening of this heart chakra gives mankind power over the basic emotional expressions of the soul's astral and physical vehicles of expression. Some of the main purification qualities produced from this chakra are as follows: to gain control over hope, care, anxiety, endeavor, sense of mindness, arrogance or hypocrisy, languor, weakness, awareness of body or mind, conceit, discrimination, covetousness, duplicity, indecision, and regret. Number 2, the throat psychic vortex center, the Vishuddha chakra. This throat chakra is a vortex center that configures these subtle sound vibrations and tattvic rays as a purification sonic wave that establishes a singularity which solidifies the motion, giving it audible sound that is capable of expressing a segment of consciousness on multiple levels of consciousness. The throat center is the 5th major nadi knot and what is called the Vishuddha chakra in the Sanskrit terminology, which means the wheel of purity. It is the vortex center of purification. This chakra is a final resting place for the fourth aspect of sound, Vaikhari sound, that gives humankind the ability to manifest consciousness on the physical and subtle planes of existence simultaneously. This chakra, which man must operate from in order to break free from the ring past knot force field that bounds all basic life forms to the realms of earth until they attain a higher level of consciousness. When man can fully raise the power of Kundalini consciously to the Vishuddha chakra and fully activate and open this chakra, then it is said that he can exit his body, his physical body, with the etheric body in full consciousness and leave this planet to visit any other planet in this solar system for a specified time. Such is the power of the throat chakra. This chakra is made up of several sonic forces as well. It has the seed mantra bija, H-A-M, that produces 16 petals or letters, sound bits, and 72 tattvic rays, which are 72 modes of motion. These modes of motion configure themselves in a manner that manifests various qualities of purification, suddhi, or shuddhi. These 72 tattvic rays are made up from the quality of the quality of the third Mahabindu force, the moon. The reflected energy rays of the mighty sun are conditioned by the moon and its loyal Luna Divas to help shape the mental realms of earth. The Sanskrit name for this Luna Diva is called the Chandra Diva group. These radiant moon rays collected from the mighty sun and reflected towards the Mother Earth's dark side assist in manipulating the sonic and cosmic energies that permeates the earth 365 days a year. This chakra has the Diva Shakini that resides over the Bindu of this chakra. The Bindu of this chakra releases the holy sound of H-A-M, and with it comes 16 petals, which are the seed mantras. Some of the main purification qualities produced from this chakra are as follows. 1, to gain control over faith, contentment, anger, affection, sense of error, sorrow, grief, dejection, purity, detachment, agitation, appetite, and desire. These holy sound vibrations, when activated properly, calibrates the chakra to release cosmic energies in a manner that will allow the divas to manipulate it by purifying the negative aspects that have built up and release the power of Pingala and Ida within the Sushumna under the control of the mighty Kundalini Diva. Okay. Do we have any questions before we move on to Crisis Center? All right. Number 3, the Christ Psychic Vortex Center, a Ajna Chakra. Sorry about that. The Christ chakra is a vortex center that acts as a command center. The ancient Sanskrit word ajna means command. Place chakra after the word and you have a short meaning of command wheel. This chakra is located between the eyebrows within the etheric structure. This chakra is where the spinal column is terminated. It's also where the three nadi energy flows called Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna nadis terminate and merge back as one consciousness. The second equilibrium level along the spinal column. The Bindu energy expressed here is the highest level of static Shakti power being expressed along the spinal column. The deep, pure meditation at this level takes the adept to a level of mastership. This chakra is called the Guru chakra. The activation and opening of this chakra is brought about by the full conscious rays of the power of Kundalini while entering a deep state of meditation. The man that fully taps into this power by raising the Kundalini to the Christ center and fully activating it, destroys all the negative karma of his past lives, and transcends all the positive karma of those past lives. This Christ chakra is made up of the sacred bija sound of Om that produces 2 petals of Sanskrit letters. These 2 sounds or petals extend themselves as nadis. This chakra has 64 tattvic rays, which are 64 sonic modes of motion where movement patterns of the cosmic energies that travel through the chakras and nadis leave this chakra. These motions of prana are brought about by the nada shakti vibrating from the petals of influence, vibrating from the petals to influence the direction movement of the aspects of mind and prana. Now, the nada shakti aspect of prana is always accompanied with a diva presence, loyal servants of the Lord of Karma. In fact, all movement is governed by the laws of karma, which are the divas in action. Therefore, if you have 64 tattvic rays, then you also have 64 divas that are responsible for the tattvic rays. The tattvic rays of this chakra are conditioned by the 3rd Granthi Nut and Mahabindu force of the etheric body, the moon. These rays collect from the mighty sun and reflect off the moon toward the Mother Earth's dark side to assist in manifesting the mental power necessary for building and maintaining the mental astral planes of existence. The tattvic rays are the sonic modes of motion that act as harmonic signals to stabilize the subtle and gross manifestation within the human structure. And number 4, the crown psychic vortex center, Sahasrara chakra. This is the 7th vortex center, the crown chakra, or psychic center. And in Sanskrit terminology, it is called the Sahasrara chakra. The ancient teachings tell us that this chakra is the residing place for the soul, and it has 1,000 petals or sacred, holy, creative sounds that feeds all of the known 108 chakras within the auric structure. The creative holy word, AUM, is the main Bindu chakra bija, chakra sound bija for this psychic center. In advanced metaphysical teachings, it is also said that multiple chakras are blended together to form this cosmic sacred vortex center or chakra. There are at least 12 known chakras within these Sahasrara chakra, 1,000-petal lotus. Sahasrara chakra is an avatar consciousness and the realms of the cosmic beings. All right, we'll stop here. And then next time we'll pick up at the Adamic man, etheric body. And finish up with this chapter. Let me really quickly see just how far I'll take it. Because it may take me, if I read through the entire chapter, it may take me a few sessions, which isn't a problem, but well, I'll announce next session if I'll read the entire chapter, if I'll just pull excerpts from it. And then we'll move into our review of Class 2, Metaphysics 101. But was there anything you wanted to add or say, Nehemiah, as we close out today's session?
No. Did it sound too technical when it's being read back to me after I wrote it?
Not to me, no, because this is chapter 9, so there's 8 other chapters of information that this is pulling from. So as you're reading through the entire text, if you're reading from cover to cover, this won't sound too technical. It'll just it's an in-depth analysis of the etheric body. In the other 8 chapters, we've already introduced a lot of these terminology, and we've introduced the etheric body and how it works in the entire structure of the Mystic Constitution. So in this chapter, now we're just diving deeper into the etheric body. So I don't think it's too technical. I know in other versions, you had let's see, I think it's this one, this book here. Yes, and this is the actual Mystic Knowledge Complete book. And you had moved some things around, but this I think in the actual book, I think in the rewrite of chapter 9, one that I'm reading for now, you go into more detail.
Yeah. How about you, Bernard? How did it sound to you? Bernard, are you still there?
I just think it depends on the what you've been exposed to before you get to the chapter.
Yeah. Okay.
It is advanced, though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, well, when it's read back to me, I see where to me I went to. So I guess the full read maybe will give people a greater understanding.
I mean, I found some old notes, believe it or not, of like pre-Y2K at FIU, from FIU. And it took a lot to get to this point, especially when you start using that language, and where this now becomes the emphasis. It takes a lot of foundation, you know?
Yeah.
Once you have it, then it's okay, but it's everything else that happens before that, you know? The Ramacharakas, the Ramaprese, you know, just reading it's still advanced, but it's just all foundational in terms of just laying out the basis of what is the body, the centers, and whatnot, and a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
That's what I realized from my notes that I found.
Yeah, I remember you telling me many years ago, you said you got too much prior knowledge in order to, you have to back up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what really made me start doing the diagrams, because I found that most people can grasp that, can grasp onto information quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then. I mean, that's all I had to say.
Okay. All right. There any final questions or comments?
The spiritual push is the Tuesday, right?
Oh, is it? Let me check the calendar real quick. One moment. Excuse me. Yeah, it's April 18th, tax day.
Yeah.
Okay. At 8 p.m. for us on the Eastern
Okay.
side. Okay. All right. Well, there's no further questions or comments. Let's go ahead and close out today's session with reciting the New Lord's Prayer. The New Lord's Prayer. O divine and wondrous Spirit, O everlasting Lord of hosts, send forth now through me thy great and lasting power. Allow me, Almighty God, the lasting privilege of radiating to all the world thy great love, so that those who suffer may be given the power and energy to rise above their weaknesses. Almighty God, in great humility do I ask you to send forth your power to give to me this great lasting privilege of being a channel, so that my suffering brothers may be helped and guided and healed and lifted into thy light, so that they who know not may look up, and in doing so receive to their higher selves your divine counsel. Almighty God, this day have you granted me a divine privilege. I ask you now to give to me the strength, so that never again will I turn from my inner vision of you. O great peace, great peace, great peace. In praise of your greatness, O God, doth my soul sing. Grant it energy to sing on forever and forever. right. Thank you very much, everyone, for your kind attendance, participation. When you have an opportunity, please be reminded to go back and review Metaphysics 101 lecture series, as we will be jumping into that relatively soon. If you have any further questions or comments, feel free to email those to us at mysticknowledgecenter@gmail.com, and we will, all one word, be glad to address those questions for you. Or if you'd like us to answer those questions in the next session, let us know in the email, and we'll do that as well. I have seen the email come in from a couple people requesting notes from previous open discussions. So once I have permission to share those, I will send those to you. Anything else? Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time. Take care.